Let's look at type 3. So type 3 has that ax cubed plus bx squared plus cx plus d. Sometimes you'll see that for type 3, you can have just 3 terms plus d. As long as there's a constant, it means that we can write this as type 3. So we can have 0x plus d equal to 0. Now this is what I've introduced, and as you can see, you have 4 terms. So if you are doing by inspection now, the first thing that you need to do is you need to find the factors of 6. So you have plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, plus or minus 3, plus or minus 6. What are you going to do with this? You're going to find a number or a factor that when you substitute into this equation, it gives you 0. I have already tried it, guys. It's quite a lot of numbers to try out. So I tried out x is equal to 3, and I substituted 3 into that equation, and I got 0. And this told me that, okay, that means that x minus 3 equal to 0 is a factor of the equation, okay? So that means now when I want to then factorize, I can go ahead and do this. I can say x minus 3 equal to x minus 3, and then a bracket, the second bracket will be a quadratic equal to 0. Now, what I need to do, because you are factorizing this expression here on the left-hand side, so I need to make sure that the first terms of those 2 brackets actually generate the x cubed. How am I going to do that? So what is x times something will give you x cubed? It's x squared. Then again, another thing, we know that this negative 6 will be generated by the last terms in each bracket. So what is negative 3 times something will give you negative 6? It will be plus 2. So negative 3 times by positive 2 does give us negative 6. Right, so we already have most of the things here. The only thing we're short of is the one in the middle. And we are going to write this as plus mx because we don't know what it is yet. Then the second thing we're going to do is say, okay, now we know that there is 2 terms that we multiply in each bracket that gave us, that contributed to that negative 5x squared. So x times by mx will give you something with an x squared. Also, this 2 terms in each bracket do contribute to that negative 5x squared. So this means if we have mx squared, because x times mx will give us mx squared, and then negative 3 times by x squared does give us negative 3x squared. And that, guys, is of course going to give us a negative 5x squared, which we got it right at the top here. Now, all that we need to do is try and simplify this to see what the answer will be. We are trying to solve for m because we need to know what that is. So, simple. I can take the negative 3x squared to the right-hand side. It will give me a negative 2x squared. And then you'll be left with mx squared this side. Then from here, I can divide. So I'm going to divide by x squared because I'm trying to solve for x. This is what I'm trying to solve for. So I'll divide by x squared there on both sides. And then the answer you're going to get is m is equal to negative 2. Then from here, we go ahead now and complete our factorizing. So we will have x minus 3, then you have x squared. And now remember, we do know what that m is, and that m is minus 2, and it has x plus 2 equal to 0. From here, then we can say, okay, now we can go ahead and solve for x. So now x here is equal to 3. or x is equal to, let's use a quadratic formula to work that out. Okay, so let's see. We have b, which is -2. So that will give us a negative with a -2 plus or minus the square root of. Then you have a -2 all squared minus 4, and then a is 1, and then c is 2, divided by 2 and with a, which is 1, equal to. This will be 2 plus or minus. Inside the bracket, guys, when you work this out, you have +4 minus 8, which will give you -4 divided by the 2. And then from here, I know that this will give us, because the square root of -4 will give us 4 times -1, which will equal to square root of 4 times by the square root of -1, and that will be 2, and square root of -1 is I, so you have 2i. So now you have 2 plus or minus 2i over 2. And we can write this, guys, in the simplest form by actually giving the numerator its own denominator. So 2 divided by 2 will give you 1 plus or minus. Then you would have 2i divided by 2 again, which will just be I. Okay, and that's your answer, guys.